The trial management for tomorrow, right? An important part of this case that many people may not know out there in the public is the bill of particulars that was ordered by the judge. It was asked for by Jen's law office, Jen's and Brad Stanton, Bill Jens. And so what is a bill of particulars, right? I'm going to tell you a couple paragraphs and sentences. A bill of particulars is a written statement used in civil and criminal actions that is submitted by a plaintiff or a prosecutor at the request of a defendant, giving the defendant detailed information concerning claims or charges made against him or her. A bill can be submitted either voluntarily or pursuant to a court order for compliance with the demand. Its function is to give the party who requests it, which would be the defense, us, knowledge of what the opposing party, the tyrants, have alleged to protect us who are requesting the bill of particulars from surprise, and in order to establish the real issues of the action, the charges, right? So it also serves to expedite the orderly progress of judicial proceedings by reducing, if not eliminating, the need for the amendment of ambiguous, we'll underline that, or vague pleadings, right? Ambiguous or vague pleadings. A bill of particulars is neither a pleading nor proof of the facts it states, but rather an elucidation of a pleading, right? Some clarification, because it's not quite clear what any of the 9 did. In criminal law, a bill of particulars is submitted by the prosecution to the defendant at the defendant's demand, which we did, to provide the facts alleged in the complaint or the indictment that related to the commission of the crime. The defendant is given notice. I'm not going to be able to get to the responses in the comments, all right? The defendant is given notice of the offenses of which he or she is charged so that a defense may be prepared. You got to know what you're alleged to have done if you want to be able to, prepare a defense, correct? Right. So, blah, blah, blah. So it prevents surprise or double jeopardy, etc., right? And then this is from West's Encyclopedia of Law, edition 2, Bill of Particulars. Noun, a written itemization of claims, which a defendant can demand to find out what are the details of the claims. What happened, right? How many times was the person shot, right? What was the dollar amount exactly? How many items were stolen? It's just $600. Well, what items were stolen? How many items? How much was each item, right? That's a bill of particulars in itemizing these claims. So in criminal cases, it can give the accused person notice of the factual basis for the charges. So we asked for that, right? And the judge said, yeah, give it to him. And this is the email from Charles O'Leary. He's the prosecutor that got stuck with this thing. He doesn't seem too happy to have it. But he says, Attorney Stanton, this is a formal written response. First of all, I'm going to stop right there. A formal written response is an email sent to the lawyer. It's not a bill of particulars. A bill of particulars is something that's filed with the court. Okay, so he's already screwed up. He's already screwed up from the get-go. As a follow-up to our discussions regarding the issue of particularity of time and place of alleged criminal conduct by various participants. First of all, there's 9 defendants. Each one of us is an individual, and most of us didn't know each other prior to this, all of us being arrested. Teresa and I were the only ones who knew each other prior to this. So various participants is vague, maybe? Is that vague? Is that particular or is that vague? You decide. So at the 10/13/21 governor and council meeting at the Police Standards and Training Facility in Concord, first I would note that all the conduct, well, what is all the conduct? That's the whole point of the Bill of Particulars, is to itemize all of the alleged conduct by each and every one of the individual defendants, because there's 9 of us. And it's going to be 9 separate trials. Believe that. 9 separate trials. Okay? So it said that all the conduct which resulted in the arrest of these 9, again, these 9. Who are these 9? He needs to particularize each individual's conduct, alleged actions, and all that individually. So they're trying to say that after a specific warning, well, what was that specific warning? Can you give us a quote? You sent us the video. Why don't you just quote Megan Walsh here? The specific warning was, if anyone makes any more disruptions after this, you're going to be arrested. Those are not specific warnings. You can't give out a blanket warning to everybody in the room because certain individuals are making disruption. So if I was making a disruption or anyone else was making a disruption, why wouldn't you go up to that individual and say, hey, you're out of line right now. We're giving you a warning. Why wouldn't you do that? So you can't just blanket warning everyone and then use that as an excuse to round everyone up just because they said, oh my God, why are they being arrested? Get them, right? So I'll continue on. Final warning, they're saying, oh, wait, let me back up. I skipped over this. So this warning from Megan Walsh that they're trying to claim as cause for the arrest is in addition to earlier admonitions by Governor Sununu. Admonitions by Governor Sununu. What were those admonitions by Governor Sununu? Those admonitions were people singing the Pledge of Allegiance too enthusiastically. That's what those admonitions were. Okay, so let's be specific. Let's itemize all the details here that are going to come out during trial. And admonitions from Sununu are not lawful orders. Sununu is not law enforcement. He is not a king. His Excellency, as he is called per New Hampshire RSA, is not a king. So the admonitions by Governor Sununu that members of the public were welcome to attend the meeting, but that deliberate efforts to interfere with the meeting or cause a verbal disruption would not be tolerated. So the Governor Sununu says, won't be tolerated. Singing the Pledge of Allegiance too enthusiastically won't be tolerated. And any further disruptions won't be tolerated. And how does he know that? If he didn't orchestrate everything from the beginning. How does he know that? How did Sununu know that these things wouldn't be tolerated? Saying amen. People saying amen. So, final warning, early admonition. Okay. So the warning by Walsh was a final warning, and the quotes of final are, he quotes it, the final warning after the earlier admonitions. Again, he goes back to the admonitions of Governor Sununu, who again is not law enforcement. Is he? No, he's not. So the admonitions of Governor Sununu were being disregarded by some members of the public. Which ones? Which ones? Because there was about 100 to 150 state troopers and sheriffs in attendance. We were surrounded within the police academy. So, and you got it all on video from start to finish. So what some members of the public, I thought this was a bill of particulars. I thought this was itemized to tell us what was going on. So some members of the public were disregarding the unlawful orders of Sununu. The unlawful orders of Sununu, right? Even though he says, and those outbursts were causing disruptions to the lawful assembly or meeting in violation of lawful commands. So to desist. So that was Sununu. So Sununu gave lawful commands to desist, you're telling me? So he's law enforcement now? Is that what's going on? Is that what you're trying to tell us? So Sununu can just, they're his Praetorian Guard, he can tell them whatever he wants to do? Well, he did. We saw that. We saw him texting on his phone beforehand. So I hope Sununu's ready to get up on the stand and he's ready for cross-examination. And if he doesn't think it can happen, I had the warden, I had the parole board, I had everybody up there on the stand. I had the major. Yeah, so go and find out. F around and find out. Because Sununu will be on the stand testifying about his lawful commands to desist. Yeah, right in time for his re-election. So he goes on. That's just the first paragraph. I'm sorry. But it is the state's position that the initial two arrests were of Mr. Staples and Miss Grinnell. And those occurred as are captured on the video footage. So he doesn't go into explaining what I did and what she did. He just says it's on the video footage, you know. It's just there. That's going to clarify. That's my elucidation for you. Go look at the video footage from the Police Standards and Training Facility, which I did link in the description below. You can watch what they gave us for video footage. There's disc 1 and disc 2, and then there's also a link to the entire playlist of all the different perspectives from people who got arrested or were filming the people that got arrested, right? So Mr. Staples and Miss Grinnell were identified by Sergeant DeLuca and Sergeant Greco as having caused a disruption. How? What did we do? How did we cause a disruption? Did we throw something? Did we exclaim something? Did we, I don't know, what did we do? It could be anything, right? So we caused the disruption, very particular, after the warning given by Sergeant Walsh to the entire group, right? DeLuca's a snake. I seen that one. Of course he is, right? They're all snakes. Any of these guys who came up on and signed on to any of these complaints, they're snakes. They've proven who they are and where their loyalty lies. Obviously, not to the people in New Hampshire, not to the Constitution, not to the state Constitution or the federal Constitution for that matter, right? So, yeah, Sergeant Greco and DeLuca. So after we caused the disruption, blah, blah, blah. These two defendants were directed into the aisle and toward the rear. So we're being arrested at that point. And that's when I flipped out in the courtroom. If you guys seen the previous things, when the prosecutor's like, oh no, they weren't under arrest yet. They weren't under arrest until they got behind the curtain. So this is saying before we went behind the curtain, before we got into the aisle, we were under arrest for causing a disruption, right? So you guys are watching me real time dissect this thing. And they were informed that they were being arrested for disorderly conduct. And we informed the rest of the people that were there that we were being arrested for we didn't even know yet. And now we know it's alleged disorderly conduct, right? And go watch the video. Don't look at me right now and think that this is how I was that day. Because I was the quietest person in the room on purpose. Because I knew they were gunning for me. Yeah. Anyway, once these two individuals were behind the partition, they then actively yelled loudly. Well, what they're not saying is once we were in handcuffs, because I was the one that started to make the noise. I'll admit that. They can submit this into evidence and try to use it against me. Once I was in cuffs, after they already said, you're going to be arrested, you're under arrest. I said, what? Okay. They actually had plastic cuffs on first, and then they switched them to metal cuffs. They cut them off. They put the metal cuffs on and cut the plastic ones off. And that's when I started yelling. We're under arrest. They're arresting us. And then we're charged with more disorderly conduct. Once we actually start making noise behind the curtain, then we're still charged with disorderly conduct. Okay? Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So once these two individuals, they yelled loudly in protest of their arrest, which led to further disruption of the meeting. The meeting was paused. The governor paused the meeting at that time. So once I caused the disruption behind the curtain for being arrested for nothing, then they paused the meeting and people were asking why we're being arrested. So then they start arresting other people. Once the meeting's paused. So the governor had just paused the meeting now. Go watch the video. We were both cited with the additional complaint. And then the other 7 defendants, their arrests are for the conduct captured on the video from the police standards and training facility, as described with more particularity in the written reports of the troopers responsible for their individual arrests. All of the conduct so the funny thing is, there are no written reports from the troopers that were responsible because it was the same cop that put the complaints together. We have one officer that put all the complaints together. So I'm not even going to bore you guys with the rest of this. I'm going to tell you what's going down tomorrow. And I'm going to ask everybody who can get there to get there. Take a half a day off work. Take the whole day off work. We're going to be at 32 Clinton Street in Concord. We're going to pack that courtroom, overfill that courtroom, and go beyond the capacity like we did the last time. Believe that. There's going to be people there, and we're going to go, and it's in-person trial management on some bullshit. And if they want to take it there, we can take it there. 9 separate trials. Believe that. 8 and 1 is 9, right? So there's all different ways we can look at this situation. What are we going to do? Take this thing all the way to the hoop. Slam dunk. Right? Yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I'll be there recording. There will be other people there recording. The 9 of us will be there. And we're going to raise hell. We're going to raise hell. Believe that. It's not going down the way that the prosecution wants it to go down, all nice and smooth. This is bullshit. This is all bullshit. We all want a trial by jury. That's right. We all want a trial by jury. And if they're telling us, so this is the thing. They're like, oh, we'll upgrade it to a Class A misdemeanor so you guys can have a jury trial if you want. We'll let you decide. You can pick and choose for yourself. So we're like, I said, I don't care. Let's do it. Jury trial. You know? This is our tax dollars at work. Someone's alleged to have said amen. That's the most particular that the complaint is. Amen. Someone said amen, and I was said to make a loud noise. Right? I'm always loud. I'm always making loud noises. I'm loud, especially when I get excited. Fuck around and find out. So That's it. That's all I got to say. Tomorrow, we'll be there. 12:45 in the courtroom. Get there by 12:30 if you want to find a parking spot. Share this and, take a half a day off work, take a late, long lunch or something like that. Whatever you got to do, be there. There's going to be lots of patriots. Come and support. Bring your signs, right? We got some veteran signs up there. We're going to have some new signs we have new signs that are already on the way, ordered, just so everybody knows. So hope to see everybody there. Have a good night. Signing off. Peace.